YouTube! Welcome to the Fantasy Football Perspective. We're here for our weekly, maybe week and a half episode. Special guest Andrew Fryman. He works
What
with me
up?
through the year for the daily fantasy perspective where we go over our FanDuel lineups of the week. Pretty pumped to get back into that. But Andy, how are you doing
Absolutely.
tonight, my man?
Wonderful, man. Just read on Twitter though that MLB will be moved back another week.
Oh,
They canceled another week of baseball games. They can't come to an agreement. So a little upset about that, but it's all good, man. We got NFL free agency coming up.
what's the holdup with the MLB stuff?
I I really don't know. It's some international trading stuff that's going on. They can't come to terms with.
That's very, very
Very
weird. I
frustrating.
know. I know it's, you hear Joe Schmo saying billionaires fighting millionaires, blah, blah, blah. But I know it goes a lot more into that. And the players want to give what's best for them and set the future players up so they're not playing from behind. So
Yeah, which we can understand that.
it's kind of like it. That's why they have a union. They have to agree on everything. But
Yeah.
I hope they come to agreement. But I have to admit, selfishly, my favorite Red seasons when they played 60 games. I watched every single game. Every game was exciting and
Oh yeah.
pumped me
Yeah.
up. So I wouldn't mind another 60 game season. But let's dig in. So some big, big, big trades in the NFL world. We're going to talk about the trades. We're going to give our grades on the trades. We're going to do a little bit of a hodgepodge of our dynasty leagues. Andy and I are in 2 dynasty leagues together. We like to make trades. We're going to give our thought process on our trades. We're going to talk just a bounce topic to topic to topic. We're going to, if something gets brought up, we're going to talk about it. This episode is going to be about 40 minutes. And as always, this episode is brought to you by the Legacy Lineup, available on Apple and Spotify, now on YouTube as well. So check out their YouTube page, drop a like, drop a subscription on their on their page, and watch their content. Some good quality stuff. You've been keeping up with that? Did you watch your last episode?
Oh yeah, yep. They got one of our old high school classmates, Brian Pitzer, coming up. He'll be on there next week. Just listen to the episode with Neil Decker.
Yep,
It's some good quality content on there.
it's nice.
Everybody should listen.
It's nice catching up with those guys because you don't get to see them as much as you used to. So see what they're up to, see what life's bringing for them.
Absolutely.
But let's dig into big, 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 big time football trades going on. About as big as it gets, honestly. Yesterday
Yeah.
was the franchise tag deadline, which leads to a bunch of trades going on, a bunch of moves. And who all got tagged? Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams,
Jesse Bates.
Jesse Bates. I think there was like 10 or 12 franchise tags. And
Yeah.
what I was surprised is a lot of even casual NFL fans don't really know what the franchise tag means. Franchise tags are a 1-year deal where they average out every starter at their position, and that is your salary for that year. So a big thing in the football world right now is Mike Gesicki got franchise tagged, so he's actually filing a grievance because the Miami Dolphins are paying him as a tight end opposed to a wide receiver.
Yep.
I know he's listed as a tight end, but he lines up 85 to 90% as a wide receiver. So he might have a case there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he does have a case. And you know what? I think he'll win,
I do too.
my opinion.
I mean, if he's majority receiver, I mean, you got to pay him like a receiver. And the
Yeah.
difference was like 18 million compared to 10 million. So it was a pretty big
Huge difference. Huge difference.
difference. But a lot of people got franchise tagged. As a Bengals fan, what did you think about old Jesse Bates getting franchise tagged?
You know what? From a business standpoint, I mean, the Bengals made the right decision. But, in every Bengals fan's heart, I mean, he's the heart and soul of the defense,
Yeah.
and they want to see him get a long-term deal. But you know what? It's not out of the question. I mean, they had till July to come up to an agreement.
Here's a question for you that I actually don't know off the top of my head. Does the franchise tag count against the cap?
I don't think so.
Let's look that up. We got our hing.
I think I read something on Twitter about that, but I really
Oh,
don't think it does.
There it is. Number 1. Does in fact. It goes against the cap.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So Yep, it goes against it. Interesting. That's just
Yeah.
I thought maybe it didn't too. So that's a incentive to like a Devontae Adams of the world that you're going to have to pay 20 million. Tag him once, tag him twice. That's 2 years where he's off the books and you still get to keep him. Makes pretty
Yeah.
good sense. But let's dig into the Seahawks trade. Big trade. I mean, first Aaron Rodgers
Huge trade.
re-signed with the Packers. I mean, it said 200 million for 4 years, 150 million guaranteed. He came out after and said that wasn't true. I haven't really heard anything past that. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Someone said it was a team-friendly deal. Blah blah blah. Who knows? Regardless, dominoes started to fall after that. I think the Broncos were going after Aaron Rodgers pretty hard.
Yeah.
So they went and acquired Russell Wilson. So dynamic quarterback. Kind of been slumping the last couple of years, honestly. We will find out whether that was a scheme type issue. They didn't have much O lineman in Seattle.
No, he was running for his life.
But he did have weapons, so I'm curious. So big trade. Russell goes to the Denver Broncos with a 4th-round pick for 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, a 5th. Noah Fant, who was a first-round pick 4 years ago, so pretty much 3 first-round picks right there. Defensive tackle Shelby Harris, who was a captain.
Beast.
Yeah,
he's good.
Captain for the Broncos, and Drew Lock, who is, I mean, that's Drew Lock. Probably not going to play. I mean, that's just a throw in at that point. See what he's made of. Who knows? Maybe he competes for a starting position, but I don't anticipate. I don't think Seattle's done. And I'm seeing these grades down here. I've been seeing a lot of this. Grade for the Broncos A, grade for the Seahawks D. What do you think, man?
I don't understand that at all. I mean, you want my opinion? I think they should be switched almost, or at least give the Broncos a B or C and Seahawks an A.
I'm with you.
I mean, I think Seahawks just. I mean, they got a haul. Heck of a trade for the Seahawks, all those draft picks. And I mean, I read something today where their Seahawks are interested in Deshaun Watson. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but
yeah. So think about this. What if they this is obviously foreshadowing, trying to predict the future, but what if they take those 2 first-round picks and a 2nd and the 5th and turn that around and get Deshaun Watson? So then they picked up an extra 2nd-round pick, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, Drew Lock, and Deshaun Watson for Russell Wilson. I mean, I know that's a lot that has to happen to make all that come true, but
it's possible.
It is very possible, 100% possible.
And listen, Noah Fant is he's a great tight end. And we've talked before how hard it is to develop a tight end, how long it takes.
Yep.
I mean, you got an excellent tight end right there, and he was a 1st-round pick.
Yep.
It's a steal. They got a steal.
They're obviously going to rebuild mode. They kind of screwed themselves a couple years ago when they traded for Jamal Adams. You know, they had pick after pick leaving, and they regained some of those picks back. If you're going to rebuild, I mean, they just got annihilated last year with Russell Wilson at the helm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's ran its course. I think it's a trade they had to make. Some issues I do see on the Seahawks side is Noah Fant is into his contract year. So hopefully there's some negotiation before this happened that he was going to want to stay there long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But talking about a fantasy perspective, let's talk about Noah Fant real quick because everyone's saying he's lost a lot of value, blah, blah, blah. He just pulled up a tight end 12, tight end number 1 value. He was tight end 12 on the year last year with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback. So he's not upgrading, downgrading. He's in the same situation. So
pretty much.
So
unless they get Watson.
Exactly. I traded for Noah. We'll go over that in a little bit. I traded for Noah Fant with the perception that Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater was going to be his quarterback. So him going to the Seahawks doesn't change my perspective on him. But the big jump in the fantasy world over the last couple of days is tight end Albert Okwuegbunam. And this guy, when I was watching the Broncos last year, he was stealing some snaps from Noah Fant in the games. And he's a much better blocker than Noah Fant. Let's bring up his PFF.
Yeah, I remember when Fant went down, we picked him up on FanDuel a couple times at a discount price.
And he is a big, big, fast guy. And I'm talking super fast. I think he weighs 260 pounds and runs a 4.3 or 4.4. 4.49 at 260 pounds. He was a 4th-round pick by the Broncos back in 2020.
That's insane.
And he just kept kind of stealing time from Fant. He's a much, much, much better blocker than Fant. Fant was getting taken out on a lot of run plays, which he needs to keep developing that. So Fant's kind of playing that Mike Gesicki role where he comes in on the passing routes. But now you have a do-it-all tight end getting a lot of playing time in a Russell Wilson system with Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton. I feel like this guy's going to do very, very well. What do you think about this trade as far as Albert? I'm not going to butcher his name again. Upside in the fantasy world.
So yeah, let's talk about Wilson on the Broncos side. Okay. So yeah, he's coming into a Broncos offense with three young, good receivers, Jeudy and Hamler and Cortland Sutton. And as long as they stay healthy, I mean, yeah, that's perfect.
I got a question for you, though. I've been thinking about this, too. Did he upgrade weapons, downgrade weapons, or stay the same, in your opinion, as far as weapons?
Offensive weapons? Mm-hmm. I want to say he upgraded.
You think so?
What would you say?
I think it's...
Yeah, I mean...
I think it's pretty similar, honestly. I mean, Lockett is a great deep threat. I think he's better than definitely Tim Patrick. He's better up there with Cortland Sutton. DK is probably the best of the group, I'd say, if you put them both on paper. But running back-wise, definitely getting an upgrade at the running back position.
Running back, yeah.
And definitely getting an upgrade at tight end. So it's kind of a push. Receivers, I don't know. I don't know how much of a true upgrade offensively it is. I don't think it's going to be – I don't think we're going to see magic numbers, I guess.
DK Metcalf, I mean, he's a good receiver. Let's not get it twisted, but he just can't create separation. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say Jerry Jeudy is going to be able to.
No change of pace.
It's just not there.
I can't remember a good slot receiver that Russell Wilson's ever played with off the top of my head. I mean, he was making a receiver named David Moore look pretty good a couple years out of the slot out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He would pop off for like a 1 touchdown, 6 catches, 120-yard game randomly. So if Jerry Jeudy's going to keep running in the slot, which it looks like it is, I expect big things from him next year. I mean, if he can create separation. I do like Sutton on the outside, but he did lose a step after his ACL tear, I feel like. And Tim Patrick's just that big guy that can go up and get the ball. So it's going to be interesting how he develops. And let's face it, the run game for the Denver Broncos is going to be insane.
I'm excited to see what Javonte Williams can do.
I do too. Year. I'm praying that praying that Gordon goes away. I really want him to go away.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, We'll see.
We'll see. So I would probably give the grade I'm giving it an A for the Seahawks. I don't think they could have.
I think you have to.
I don't know what else they could have gotten for that. It's probably the best offer you're going to get. You're essentially getting 3 first-round picks when you include Noah Fant, 2 seconds, a 5th-round pick, a defensive tackle who's going to give them one of the best 1-2 punches at the D tackle line, and Drew Lock as a throw-in. That's just a throw-in. And I would give a B for the Broncos. If you really, truly think that you're a quarterback away, you got to do what you got to do to go get a quarterback. Fine. It just worked out for the Rams. They thought they were a quarterback away. They go out and trade however many first-round picks for Stafford, so it can turn stuff around. You know what I mean? We just saw it happen.
People love those big names. So, I mean, they see Russell Wilson, and they'll give him an A for the trade.
Yep. So
I don't get it, but
100%. He's good. He's been really good for like the first 7 or 8 games each year, and then they kind of peter out a little bit. But I think that's a little bit of Pete Carroll's coaching. I don't think he makes adjustments through the year. I don't know if that's much Russell Wilson. But let's go on to our second big trade. Carson Wentz just got traded to the it says Redskins up here.
Oh man.
Come on, Walter Football. Funny. What's going on here? The Commanders get Carson Wentz for 2 third-round picks and swap of 2022, and they're getting giving the Redskins an F
An F.
and the Colts an A+, and that just tells you how biased these are.
Yeah.
Listen, these guys need quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, whether you hate him, like him, he was playing very good football until that Jacksonville game last year. I think that was his only game with 2 or more interceptions the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's kind of like sticking and grating in your head a little bit, but there's some nice weapons on the Washington Commanders. You got Scary Terry, Gibson. McKissick's kind of is hurting now with that ACL, but they can draft a receiver in the first round, sure up everything. They have a good tight end with Logan Thomas. And what do you think about this trade? I mean,
yeah, I think an F is a little bit rough.
Yeah.
I think the Colts deserve 2 third-round picks. I'd give them a B for that trade, and I would give the Redskins probably a D. I'm not a believer in Wentz, but maybe he'll play better if he flies under the radar. I just don't think he can handle the spotlight.
Yep, he chokes in those big games that actually mean something.
So I think this will give him a chance to kind of stay out of the media's attention going on the Commanders, and we'll see what he can do. I mean, this is pretty much his last chance.
Has to be,
in my opinion.
He has 1 year prove it deal, and there's different things that go into this. One of those third round picks become a second if he plays 70% of the snaps. Kind of the same deal that he just did when he went from the Eagles to the Colts. 70% of the snaps, and that happened, so they got a first rounder for him. Just kind of crazy.
Does every quarterback that plays for the Redskins get hurt? I mean, that's what it seems like.
It's kind of weird.
RG3, are they cursed?
Fitzmagic, Heineke.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But I wish him nothing but the best. I have Scary Terry in one of our dynasty leagues, so I think it does up his value. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to say that I think Carson Wentz is the best QB he's played with so far in his career. That's kind of pathetic. But
yeah,
we'll see where that goes.
We'll see what he can do.
So let's go. We're going to bring up the NFL free agency list.
Can we talk Deshaun Watson real quick,
though? Of course. What do you think is going to happen with that?
Where is Watson going to land? She's tagged to so many teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks, Pittsburgh, Browns. I honestly don't know where he'll go. I mean, it all depends on Friday, of course.
Yeah.
I think once we figure out what happens after this case, I think a lot of teams are going to be lighting up the phone.
If this case goes well on Friday, expect him to get moved that day or the day after. Yep. I think there are a lot of trades that are already accepted in principle in my head.
Yeah.
I just read that Pittsburgh's not interested anymore right before we got on the podcast, which kind of surprises me. Saw he was linked to the Browns today. I saw that Kirk Cousins was linked to the Colts. I saw Jimmy G was linked to the Colts. I saw that Jimmy G was linked to the Saints. We saw all these things, and there's still some decent quarterbacks out there. I think if you put Jameis Winston in the right situation, he could do well too. But Deshaun Watson, he's going to get moved. There's no doubt about it. People forget that he actually could have played last year. The Texans literally just sat him out so he doesn't get hurt, so they get the most trade value that they could for him. Just kind of,
and they're going to get a haul.
They're going to get a haul. I'm guessing 3 first-round picks and player A and player B. What do you think?
Yeah. Just, I mean, he's a dynamic quarterback, and that's what teams want this day and age. He's exactly what most teams are looking for.
He's a gunslinger. Personally, even if he gets traded to the Browns, I'm going to say this now, I do think he's slightly overrated. He has a lot of games where they're playing from behind and he's slinging it, padding the stats at the end of the game. Just good for fantasy. I think he's one of those players that might be a better fantasy quarterback than he is an actual quarterback. Kind of like Jalen Hurts.
There are a few of them, yeah.
He throws the ball better than that, and he's a gamer. He's a winner. But I don't know. I'm just not sold on him as a franchise guy. Well,
I can't wait to see.
I would be curious. If he got traded to the Browns, I would root for him. But I'm going to put that out there. I do think he's slightly overrated right now, and as just an overall quarterback, not a fantasy quarterback, just an overall quarterback. But here we are. We have the free agents this coming year. There's a lot of good ones already out. Most of the receivers already got franchise tag. We're just gonna stick with the top 10. There's a shit ton of free agents this year, but Devontae already franchise tagged. I know you want to see Armstead on the Bengal, don't you?
Oh yeah, I was going to give you. There's a few players that I wanted to talk to you about that I think the Bengals should sign, or I want them to sign.
Yeah.
And I want them to sign Armstead, but I don't know if they will.
He's going to demand a big contract.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a few other linemen here, like Tunzel and Jensen and Lake and Tomlinson.
Would you
I'd
want
like
them
to
to
see the
trade for
Bengals
Tunzel?
get. I would. I would. I don't know what the package would look like, but I would like for them to.
Mm-hmm. There's a pretty good lineman. Jesse Bates, franchise tagged. Chandler Jones, I mean, a lot of people need defensive ends. Where's he going to go? The rumor I keep seeing is back to the Patriots.
That's very likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I was reading that earlier today as well.
Patriots defense, bro. So
So
good
good.
every year. Now they're going to have potentially Jones on one side and got Judon in the other. Gosh, they do that every year. Godwin.
How do you stop that?
You don't. Godwin franchise tagged. Jesse Bates
Tyrann
franchise
Mathieu.
tagged. Where's Matthew going to go? Where's a good
Very
prediction
interesting
for him? I've seen everything over the sun. I don't think he's going to go back to the Chiefs, even though it says Cardinals up here. That's weird.
He's going to go to a big market team.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion,
I do too.
That's where those guys like to go.
Mm-hmm. Like a New York or something.
Yep.
New York or he's like a Los
Don't be a
Angeles
giant.
Chargers. I know they have the big safety out there, but he could play the other safety.
Yeah.
Von Miller. Rumor is he's going back to the Broncos. Yep.
We know where he's going.
Marcus Williams, I think he's going to re-sign with the Saints, is what I've read. What do you think about Brandon Sharif, guard for the Commanders?
My gosh. I have no idea. I haven't read anything about him.
Gronk linked to the Bengals. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. He might go back to the Patriots too. Who knows?
And Ryan Jensen's been linked to the Bengals a lot too. I saw.
Yep, he's on my list. I would love to get him. He would fit right in, to be honest with you. He's exactly what we need.
And I see J.C. Jackson for the Patriots wants $20 million a year. He's linked to the Bengals as well, and he's linked to the Chargers. I was just reading that before. A lot of stuff to play out.
He's the last on my list here, J.C. Jackson. I would love for Cincinnati to sign him. Wishful thinking, probably.
It's expensive, man. $20 million a year for a corner. That's Jalen Ramsey money.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll demand it, and he'll probably get it too.
Oh yeah, he will. Some won't pay. If he's looking for money, he's just going to go to the person who pays him most. You know what I mean?
Where's Bobby Wagner going to go?
I don't know. I don't like paying those old linebackers.
He's going to be a Cowboy.
Think so?
I'll mark my words. Yep. He'll go to a big market team like that.
So let's have you made any Dynasty 2 trades lately? Oh yeah.
I made a trade. I made one trade, and I was kind of waiting till next week to really go hard, but I made a trade with you for Stephon Diggs. That's the only trade I made this offseason. But next week is when things will get crazy, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking to get another quarterback.
Another quarterback?
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard. I went through everyone trying to get a quarterback. It's just hard to find.
I want another stud quarterback.
Trying to find how to bring up your previous trades on here.
I'm
not used to doing this on this type of thing.
I'm not used to it on the actual app there.
So let's just bring up recent activity. Then we'll bring up trades. So here's my last trade. So I'll go in order of my trades. I went on a little spree. So my mindset in this league going into it was I had an older team last year, and I looked at Snowman Mafia's team, So we'll start there. And I was realistic with myself. I said, I cannot win first place. His team is just too damn good. So let's bring.
That's what you have to do. You have to go to who do you think has the best team,
and can you
and
compete?
how you match up.
And if you can't compete, it's time to do something about it. Okay?
Yep.
Look at this team, man. This is a 12-man Superflex league. Dak, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, tight end premium Travis Kelce, Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Rodgers. What in the world? How'd we let this happen? Sanders, Anderson, Gallup's going to find a new team. Stevenson's getting a lot more carries. There's talk about trading Dalvin Cook, and he has Madison sitting there. He might have 2 starting running backs. Schultz.
He could.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And he has pretty decent trade capital. He has his 2023 first and his 2024 first still in 2 seconds this coming year. So
he can go get another stud if he wants to.
Yep. So I literally I did an analysis. I couldn't compete. I wish I could bring up my team before everything.
He drafted Cooper Kupp late, and he lucked out with how he turned out.
7th round Cooper Kupp, 9th round Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
two stabs that ended up working out.
Yep. I mean, he just everything he touched turned to gold. He made some good trades this year too. I'm not going to.
Yeah, he has. No.
He always drafts well. He's a good fantasy football player. He'd actually every league I'm in, he's always towards the top. So he knows what he's doing. But that's an incredible team. This is the definition of a win now team. I mean, if he stays healthy, Dan might go undefeated.
He could very easily.
Mm-hmm. So that happened. So at this point in time, I said, it's time. I need to sell my older players while they still have value, gather up as many 2023 picks as I can, and go all in 2024 and 2025. His team should be getting older at that point. He's losing out of his window, and that's my window to open up. So that was my thought process. So back to this. Let's go bring this back up. We'll go to my first trade. I think my first trade opened up with you, man.
Oh, yeah. I think it did too.
Mm-hmm. So I had Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill on my team. I was trying to flip those for weeks. So finally, me and Andy made a trade. I traded Stephon Diggs for Marquise Brown in a 2023 first. So I gathered my first 2023 first, and I like Marquise Brown mainly because I have Lamar Jackson, so I wanted that stack. You obviously get a top 10 receiver. I think he's 28 years old, so you have at least 2 more years of high production.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And you're more probably closer to win now than I am. So it made sense for you. All right. Second trade, I get another 2023 first. I traded Tyreek Hill and Tony for McLaurin and another 2023 first. So I'm getting younger and gaining first. That's the whole goal. Getting younger, gaining first. I am personally, I'm just going to be real with you. I think Kadarius Toney's very overrated. I think he's okay. He had a couple good games last year. There's just way too many mouths to feed. How do you feel about Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, don't look for that production from Toney again. Yeah. I mean, he had a couple fluke games, and people jumped on the train. But what I saw on the field, I wasn't that impressed.
I mean, he also had games where he was a ghost, or he got hurt in like 5 minutes multiple times. So now I was at 4 first-round picks. I was like, okay. And then my big trade, the big boy.
The beast.
The beast. This took about 8 hours of negotiation. Me and Peg Leg Greg going back and forth. I traded Derek Carr, Waller, Judy, kill me. This was before Wilson was there. And a second and a third. And I got 2 first. This first round pick is very valuable because it's projected to be the number 1 pick in 2020.
Number 1 overall.
And if I showed you guys his team, you guys would agree wholeheartedly. It's one of the worst fantasy teams I've ever seen. Sorry, Chris, but it's true. And then I got his first round pick. We swapped Cousins for Carr, whatever. I think that's pretty easy.
That's a 50-50 split.
I love Van Jefferson's upside next year with OBJ gone and Woods gone. And I have Woods sitting there for when for when he gets healthy. So I liked that even split. So now I was sitting at 6 first-round picks. I have no one in my starting line. Oh, I made one more trade. Sorry. My last trade was I traded Calvin Ridley and Hunter Henry. This was before Calvin Ridley got suspended for gambling for Noah Fant.
Yeah.
So now I got younger at every position, and my team is all under 26 in my starting lineup, and I'm sitting at this. Not a bad starting lineup. I'll probably make the playoffs, but I'm not going to win it all. But I wouldn't win it all with my last team, so that's what I did. And this is the whole reason I did it. I now have
look at those first-round picks.
6 2023 first-round picks, baby. So I'm set in that department. And if you haven't taken a look at the 2023 class, it is insane.
Loaded.
Bijan Robinson, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Crazy.
And say if you team works and you're close to winning it, I mean, you can swap some of those first-round picks for some studs and go get it.
Exactly, and it's going to
sitting pretty good.
It's going to be crazy. And I also picked up this guy as fast as I could, Mr. Albert. Beat everyone to the table.
We just talked about him. Yeah, heck of a pickup.
So all is good. So
where do you think? How about Calvin Ridley? You got rid of him just before.
I've been hearing rumbles that something bigger was going on for a while. Like, this whole story didn't make much sense to me. I know mental illness is real, and I know people sometimes go through that or whatever. But it just happened so suddenly. There was no signs that anything was leading up to it. He was playing football. It seemed like something happened that made him walk away. It seemed forced. You know what I mean? It was just too sudden.
It was fishy.
It was weird, and he never talked about it after that. And maybe I'm overlooking everything. I'm looking too far into anything, but I definitely think this came out a long time ago. The Falcons came up to him and was like, "Here, we got to figure out what's going on. We need you to sit out, or we're gonna have to go public with this. Do what you need to do." Could be totally off base, but I think that's what happened. And I was fishing around on some Atlanta blog boards, and it got mentioned about a month ago that something was going on bigger. And that's when I was like, I'm going to sell him. So I did. I finally sold him, and it worked out.
Who do you want the Browns to pick up next week? I said a couple pieces that I wanted Cincinnati to get. What would you like to see the Browns do next week?
I don't know, man. I know, first and foremost, I'd like them to release Jarvis Landry. I think that relationship's ran its course. That frees up $14 million in cap space, just like that. I would like them to trade Austin Hooper. If you trade Austin Hooper, that releases another $8 to $10 million in cap space.
They just paid him last year, right?
No, he was on a new contract when we got him. I think that was 2 years ago. They just paid Njoku this year. We franchise tagged Njoku, right. And Njoku had a better year than Austin Hooper, and it was cheaper. And also, our our sophomore from last year, Harrison Bryant, runs the best routes out of any of them. So get Hooper out of there. We have 2 good tight ends. We don't really need them. Save a lot of money. So I would just go after. We need defensive tackles. I would sniff around the defensive end from our Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones. I would try to go after Chandler Jones. I would throw some money at him, see what happens. We need another safety now. Our third string safety, Harrison Bryant, or not Harrison Bryant. Gosh, I'm butchering names right now. Our third round safety that we got from the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple years ago is a free agent, so we're going to lose him. So we just need those key pieces, and obviously we need a receiver. I wanted to throw some money at Mike Williams, but not that much money. Maybe
he got paid.
I know. I mean, that was insane. Allen Robinson, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, he wouldn't be bad.
How much does he have left in the tank? Is people going to pay him like he produced 2 years ago, or are they going to pay him like he produced last year? So
horrible year.
The GM, I know we're linked to Deshaun Watson and everything. The GM's never seemed to be that person to push all the chips to the middle of the table. Everything seems to be super calculated. Don't risk the future. Play it by ear and slowly build up into a dynasty. But our dynasty window's coming to an end. You're either going to have to pay Baker Mayfield or not, so it's time to be aggressive on this last year. So, I don't know. I think we re-signed Clowney for about 1 year, $15 million.
Why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the number one thing they have to do. He had a great year last year, and we need some receiver help. Christian Kirk's been linked to the Browns. He's a decent receiver. I'd take him.
It's a good pickup.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But
why not?
I don't think we're going to make any splashes like the Bengals are. I think the Bengals are going to sign 4 or 5 guys. That's going to make a big difference.
I would be nice. We'll see, though, because history tells you they won't. But, I mean, you were there, so.
It sucks. They had it. They had it, man. But other news, transitioning real quick. How about March Madness next week, man? You pumped?
Oh, man. Can't wait.
Did you call off work yet, man? What in the world?
I have not called off work yet.
Dude.
But, yeah. Starts next Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Andy and I are going to a casino in Indiana that has a Barstool Sports Lounge. Me, Andy, and a couple of friends. So we're going to watch March Madness in style this year. I know we always try to take at least one of the days off and go watch it with some friends all day. It's just fun watching the teams that you picked. You get to see teams that you've never watched play all year. I know I'm not a huge college basketball fan. Are you?
No, not the regular season, but I love March Madness. So
it's the best, man.
One of the best times of the year. I mean, super exciting.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you had written down that you want to touch base on before we end today's show?
No, I wanted to go. We talked about who I think the Bengals, or who I would like to see the Bengals get, and some big name quarterbacks, and Deshaun Watson mainly.
Yeah,
I was really curious about him. But no, we touched on all the topics that I wanted to talk about.
Yep, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Another good episode. I'm going to keep trying to have different guests each week, every 2 weeks, whatever. We're going to pick up the pace as we get closer to football season. I'm going to do a mock draft special coming up in the next coming weeks. I got to do a little homework before I introduce that to everybody. But looking forward, that's probably going to be my next episode. Mock draft special. The draft's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. NFL
quick.
Free agency starts March 16th next week. Man, it's crazy. We're here 1 week from today. But as
new season starts.
We're going into season 2 of the Fantasy Football Perspective, and we're going to come back better than ever. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a good night.
See ya.